And here's 5 fun facts about
Ukraine!
Number 1.
Ukraine is a country on the continent of Europe.
The Ukrainian flag is blue and yellow.
The blue represents the clear blue skies, and the yellow represents the grain that grows in Ukraine's huge, beautiful wheat fields.
It's mostly forests and fields.
Ooh, Ukraine sounds like a really beautiful place.
It is.
Fact number 2. Higher education in Ukraine is very affordable. When I say very, I mean very, very. Imagine, 80% of Ukrainians have higher education. How you like that? Most of my classmates went to university for free and got a bachelor's degree. And some like me got a master's degree for free. And besides that, for 6 years, I received a very small amount, something like $50, but still a stipend for a good study. I've heard a lot about US higher education system and how expensive it is. Everything different in Ukraine. If you study well at school and successfully pass the state graduation tests, there is a huge chance that you will enter any university and the state will pay for your education there. Nice! But even if you pass the test mediocrely, there will be universities where there is always a shortage of applications. There are, for example, pedagogical, agronomic, technical universities. They gladly accept entrants because the profession taught there just are not trendy, but the state is ready to pay for their education because the specialists in those areas are in great demand. Paradox. Of course, not everyone is educated for free. About a half of the students pay for their studies at the university. But these are definitely not a huge amounts. It can be from $1,000 to $1,500 per year of study.
Starting next month, the Education Department says student loans that are in default will be referred for collections. The Associated Press saying roughly 5.3 million borrowers are in default on their federal student loans, and soon they could be subject to having their wages garnished. Involuntary collection, let's just put this in plain English, it means the government can garnish wages, intercept tax refunds, and seize portions of Social Security checks and other benefit payments to go toward paying back the loans.
Did not really think about the finances. Looking back now, seeing state school was so much less. That never crossed my mind. I knew that college was expensive and, I just thought everybody took out student loans and that's just how you did it, unless you had millionaire parents or something. I think my mom believed, like me, that it was just a process. If you do the right things, if you go to college, you get the good grades, then it should all just kind of work out. So I don't think she really worried about the finances as much. She did make it clear from the beginning that she wouldn't be able to pay for it and that it would be all on me.
If you are one of the millions of federal student loan borrowers who are still in default, in just 2 weeks, you're going to be sent to collections. That's according to today's announcement from the Department of Education. The Education Department says a huge percentage of federal student loan borrowers are either not paying on their loans or are in default. And Secretary Linda McMahon says enough is enough. Starting on May 5th, if you have not made a payment, enrolled and are paying in some kind of income-driven repayment program, or signed up for some kind of loan rehabilitation, you're going to be notified that you're being sent to collections. And by later this summer, if you still haven't done anything to get your loan back into good standing, the Trump administration is going to start sending notices, and your wages and Social Security payments are going to be garnished. Now, in case there was any question, under the Trump administration, there will be no form of student loan forgiveness. The Education Department says student and parent borrowers, not taxpayers, must repay their student loans. There will not be any mass loan forgiveness. Together, these actions will move the federal student loan portfolio back into repayment, which benefits borrowers and taxpayers alike. Now, this goes for all kinds of student loans taken out by parents and students, including those loans authorized under the Federal Family Education Loan Program. So if this is you, what should you expect? Well, the Department of Education says the Treasury Offset Program will be sending you an email in the next 2 weeks, making you aware of your default status and warning you about this collections thing.
I just checked my student loans because I needed to get the information to someone, and what the I started with 80,000. I have been paying for 10 years. Last year, I paid 6,000 lump sum because that's really the only way to get it low. That took it down to 76,000 after I'd been paying for 9 years. The grand total is I have paid $120,000 and I still owe 76. How the is this possible?
Fact number 2. Higher education in Ukraine is very affordable. Okay, next. Fact number 5. In most Ukrainian banks, money transfer from account to account takes 30 seconds. The banking system in Ukraine has been very progressive for more than 7 years. Most banks have applications that allow you to send money to anyone, to any bank in 5 seconds. And most likely within 10 minutes the money will come to the recipient, but most often within 1 minute. We have banks without offices at all, whose bank account can be issued by a mobile application. The same applies to opening a deposit or even issuing a loan in a few clicks, just sitting at home. One of the banks even has a shake to pay feature for restaurants. It works like this. You just had dinner. To pay for food, you need to scan QR code on the table and pay. That's it. And you don't need to call waiter or wait for the bill. It's so fast and so easy and feels like a piece of the future. That was the last fact for today. Let me know in the comments which you liked the most. До побачення, everybody. See ya!
Обережно, двері зачиняються.
500. Раз. 3000. Є. Ні, ну просто...
Fact number 3. When you come to visit Ukrainians, most likely you will eat something. If a Ukrainian ever invites you over, it is a 95% probability that there will be food, and they will promote it to you in every possible way. I know that you know this test in job interviews about sell me a pen. So if you ask my grandma to sell you her homemade borscht with sour cream, trust me, you will last exactly 30 seconds and then you will eat it. Most Ukrainians are very hospitable, and this hospitality often manifests itself in the setting on the table. The more important the occasion is, the greater the variety of food will be on it. So for example, if you were invited for tea, there will definitely be something sweet on the table. Cookies, candies, cake, pie, or even sliced cheese and sausages. And very likely you'll be asked first if you are hungry, so that you can offer to eat the main dishes. If you come to the birthday party, just hold on. A banquet with appetizers, hot dishes, salads, and desserts awaits you. At such parties, when I was little, my parents could sit at the table for 6 to 8 hours, with all the breaks to dancing, smoking, or changing dishes. Now such feasts happens less often, but it still remains a part of our food culture.
The reason for such fixation of Ukrainians on food is historical.
Our ancestors lived through very hungry times in the last century. Google at least Holodomor. But I warn you, this is a very sensitive content. Because of this, for many of my grandma's generation, food became the language of love. Therefore, to visit grandma and not eat is to make her upset. To her, it feels like I don't accept your love. And who would want that for their dear grandma? Who? Not me. That's why I always know that I have to be hungry when visiting her. That's it.